G'day, this is John Blake speaking, and as promised, I have a video that walks you through the case study that I was talking about in the last email. So essentially what happened in this particular case study, I was working with a client that sells sunglasses and they wanted to increase their account base. They wanted to grow the amount of clients that they were working with, and they needed to do it quickly. So essentially we came up with a strategy for them that allowed them to increase their client base by 25% in 60 days. In fact, I think it ended up being more than that. We extended it out to 90 days because it was such a successful promotion. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through that exact strategy, which in all fairness has evolved quite significantly since then. Although that said, you can still use the same idea, same approach today, and I'm going to walk you through essentially how to do that. So the first step, so I guess to reference back to this particular case study, what it is that we did is that we made a list of people that we wanted as our clients. And in doing so, there was a list of people who we would ideally like to deal with, which we call the Dream 100. So, it might be 100 or it might be Dream 50, but essentially the process is make a list of people that you want to work with. What you may also want to do if you've got a particular product that relates to territory is work out who you'll go to if the people that you first approach for whatever reason don't come on board straight away. And you can actually leverage that, which especially if you're dealing with retailers and you've got a particular product or service, you can leverage the location part of it, the territory part of it in your particular process. So all the people who are on my list who are in action sports in wholesale, this works particularly well if you've got a brand new product and you want to release it slowly. So identify who you want to work with, make yourself known to them by sending them something, which we'll expand on in a minute, and then in doing so, essentially have a letter that says that you're going to call. Call when you said that you're going to call, make an appointment, rock up to the appointment on time, and then at the end I'll explain to you why this particular process works so effectively. So, in identifying who you want to work with, work out who your dream list of clients are. So I recommend a Dream 100 because it gives you good positioning. So if for whatever reason person number 4 on your list decides that they don't want to work with you, you know that you've got another 96 people that you can go after. So it just gives you really good positioning to know within yourself from a mindset perspective that you've actually got a whole bunch of people that you can really benefit with your particular product or service. The next step is to identify the decision maker. So work out who the person is that can make a call. So the idea is who can make a call on your particular purchase without having to check with someone else. That's kind of the short definition of decision maker. Get the correct address. Some people don't change the address on their website or in the yellow pages or whatever, so make sure you've got the correct mailing address. The step beyond that is to make yourself known to them, and the best way to do that is to send them something. So what's interesting is that a lot of people think, like I have a particular strategy that I've evolved quite substantially over the last 10 years, which involves sending a pack of information that positions your expertise particularly powerfully with that particular client before you rock up. So it's an education-based marketing package, which has got client testimonials, case studies, similar to essentially what we're doing right now, which establishes you as being credible before you actually call them. So instead of it being a totally cold call, when you call them, they actually perceive you as being very different to what they would if you just called them cold, if that makes sense. So that is a particular strategy that I use with both my private clients and that I teach in the Professional Sales Masterclass. And what people often don't understand is that you can actually use the same process just by sending them a brochure, just by sending them something prior to you rocking up. And really, if your brochure's done correctly, it should have client testimonials and case studies on it anyway. So sending them something. So as I said, the strategy that I now work with my clients is the education-based marketing pack, which positions you as credibly before you call or arrive, and then put that particular pack or put that particular information into an express post pack or courier it to them with a cover letter. In the cover letter, what you want to do is you want to introduce yourself and preempt that you will call them within a particular time frame. Typically 48 hours is pretty good. And essentially what you're doing is that you're setting yourself up to deliver on an agreement. So agreement number 1. So what's important here is that you have to make sure that you write the cover letter in a way that frames your first contact in a non-salesy type way. So in a very neutral, non-salesy type way. So it needs to be worded in a way that captures their attention and gets their interest, but doesn't make them feel like they're being set up to be sold to, which is very, very important. So the way that it is worded is very, very important. That said, what it needs to achieve is to essentially introduce you and frame that you will be calling them within 48 hours. So you're setting yourself up for agreement number 1 to be delivered. So from there, call when you said you would. So one of the best things you can do is to find out when the express post pack is going to rock up. If you send it via courier, then you know exactly when it's going to rock up. And then call them within, say, 3 hours of the time frame that you're pretty sure that it would be delivered. So if it's an express post pack, most people will send someone to the mail in the morning. So if you were to call around midday or somewhere thereabouts, maybe 1 or 2 o'clock, you know that that's a good time. If they're not there, leave a message because they need to know that you called when you said that you were going to call. Some people say, well, what if I ring up and they're not there? It's like, just leave a message. It's cool. So what are you doing? You're delivering on agreement number 1. The other thing is that it's not a cold call anymore. Because you sent them something prior, it's not a cold call. And if you've done this bit right and you've actually sent them some really powerful stuff, it actually can turn a cold call into a warm call, and they sound very, very different on the phone. So that's agreement number 1 delivered. The point beyond there is to get an appointment, to get in front of them. So what's important here is that you have to make sure that your call is scripted correctly to properly leverage what it is that you've done up until that point. So as an example, some people send the package and then call up and say, oh, I'm ringing to see if you got the information that I sent you. Now that's wrong because it's too easy for the person to say, oh no, I didn't get it. And if they say, no, I didn't get it, then straight away it puts you in a really, really bad situation. So what I recommend, so obviously the way that particular follow-up call is scripted is really, really important, but one particular part of it is to simply say, instead of saying, oh, I rang to see if you got the information I sent you, is simply to say, hi, I'm ringing to, I sent you a package of information, I'm ringing to see what you thought of it, which is a very, very different way of approaching that particular call. Obviously there are other parts to the script, but that is a very, very crucial part of it which you can use. So get the appointment. That's the whole idea of sending in the pack, preempting the call, make the call and get an appointment. So rock up on time. So you've made an appointment, rock up at the time that you said that you were going to rock up. So what it is that you have just done is you've delivered on agreement number 2. So you've delivered on agreement number 1 there, and then you've set yourself up for agreement number 2 by making an appointment, and you rock up at the time when you said that you were going to rock up. So essentially, the best thing about this is that your relationship, your new relationship with this particular prospect is now sitting on a foundation, a solid foundation of 2 met agreements. So the other part of this is that in that appointment, you need to make sure that you script the context, the context of the meeting properly to ensure you lower sales resistance as much as possible. So the way that you actually frame that meeting, both in the appointment making process and then when you actually rock up, in terms of your scripting, is crucial. So this particular part of it is very, very crucial. So and why this works is pretty simple. It's because if we ask ourselves what is the biggest barrier to business, so we think about the people that we deal with, you've got a new vendor, what is the biggest barrier that you have in doing business with that person? Well, the answer to that is trust, right? And what underpins trust? Well, what underpins trust is that the person is going to do what it is that they said that they were going to do. So here, if you've already delivered on 2 agreements prior to them even meeting you, either consciously or subconsciously, that person is perceiving you as being way more trustworthy than what they would if you simply rang up cold and tried to book an appointment with them. So, as I said, this has worked time and time again. In its most basic form for the sunglass company, they sent a brochure with sunglasses in it and a cover letter in an express post pack, and they were able to increase their client base by 25% within 60 days. And then we went on to increasing it by about 35% in 90 days from memory. So it's proven and it works, and it means that before you've even met, your relationship is sitting on a solid foundation of 2 met agreements. So as I said, there are some things that need to be nuanced in terms of the wording of your cover letter, in terms of the scripting of the follow-up call, and in terms of the framing of the meeting. And those are things that I both cover in my 12-month sales breakthrough program, but they are also things that I cover in the Professional Sales Masterclass, of which there is one coming up next Tuesday, the 5th of February. Let me just double check that. So next Tuesday, the 5th of February at the Subiaco Football Club. So if you are interested in that, I'll include a link in the email that I sent you that also had a link to this particular video, or you can just send me an email, john@john-blake.com.au, and I'll send you some details. It is a particularly powerful day of training. You get a brochure, or not a brochure, a manual that's got a whole bunch of different templates, tools, scripts. It's very, very similar to what it is that we're talking about here, that you'll take away with you for a particularly low investment in terms of the value that you'll get. So if you're keen, let me know, and I'd love to have you in the room. If not, you can use what it is that you just learned, because it is a pretty simple strategy straight away in your business. I hope this was valuable, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Cheers.